Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, why can't Superman defeat Dracula? Because he doesn't want to go into the crypt tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the DC deck building game Rivals Superman vs. Lex Luthor from Cryptozoic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the DC Comics deck building game Rivals Superman vs. Lex Luthor. This is another iteration of the Rivals system. I believe this is the 5th version we've seen of the Rivals system, not counting the Confrontation core game. This takes the DC Comics deck building game and he makes it just a 2-player game in which you take on the iconic roles of DC Comics heroes and villains as they battle each other for supremacy. Now here we have Superman and his arch rival Lex Luthor. Now, like the other games in this series, you have 3 oversized hero cards, a 9, a 12, and a 15. And what you're doing over the course of the game is just like the regular DC Comics deck building game, you are buying cards, you're using power to purchase cards from the lineup. Cards are going in your discard pile, you're shuffling them when you need to make a new deck, and they come up again, they recycle. But what's interesting here with the rival system is you have a choice. Every turn you can make a decision before you play any cards. Do I want to do a regular turn where I buy cards from the lineup, or do I want to do a confrontation? Now, if I do a confrontation, I have to announce that at the beginning of my turn before I lay down any cards. But as soon as I announce I want to make that confrontation, I lay down the cards, I add up my power, I do whatever combos I can, and then I say, I've got enough power to defeat your oversized hero card, whichever one it is, the 9, the 12, or the 15. And then at that point, whoever is defending, if they have a card that has block on it, they can play a block card, and that will make the cost go up. And if the hero can't match that, then nothing happens. Effectively, they lose a turn, and they lose all that power they generated that turn. However, if they succeed in getting through, they can then claim that oversized hero card as a trophy. They put it on their side of the board. Now, again, if a player is ever able to defeat their opposing player's 15 card, they instantly win the game. If, however, neither player has managed to take out all 3 of their opponent's oversized hero cards, by the time the lineup deck runs out, they're unable to refill anything from the lineup deck, players are going to go ahead and look at all the cards, any ongoing cards they had, any of the cards they bought during the game, and any oversized hero cards they have captured, and they're going to add up all of the victory points, and whoever has the most victory points wins. DC deck building game Rivals Superman vs. Lex Luthor.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So again, I'm a big fan of the DC Comics deck building game. I think I've got just about everything, excluding some of the promos, and of course that elusive Batman Ninja crossover pack that they did a few years ago that they no longer have the license to. Other than that, I think I've got everything. I've got 2 of the multiverse boxes that I am filling up. I think one's full, one's about half full. So I really, really enjoy the DC Comics deck building game. I always have. I've played the first one, I think, in 2012 or 2013. It was the very first deck building game I ever played, and I fell in love with deck building as a result of it. Now, I think it's kind of weird that they chose to do Superman and Lex Luthor for this rival set. And I say that because in the Confrontations core set, which was designed to be kind of a team game, 2v2 game against two heroes and two villains, you did have already Superman versus Lex Luthor. So you already had that kind of built into the core system of Confrontations. Now, to be sure, the cards in that set, Confrontations, they are different than the cards in the Rivals set. So there is difference. There's different combinations you're going to find, different powers that both the oversized Superman and Lex Luthor card can do. So there's a lot of differences between that set and the Confrontation set on that level. And yet, still, it just seems a little redundant. And of course, obviously, the answer is they made this set to coincide with the new Superman movie, the James Gunn Superman that just came out earlier this year. And I mean, so obviously it makes sense. It's a marketing thing. And of course, Superman and Lex Luthor are two of the most iconic characters in the DC universe. So that you can understand that, you get that. Still, it seemed a little weird to me where we already had them in Confrontations. But I got to tell you, I had a blast with this. I always like the Rivals games. My favorite is still probably the first one, Batman versus the Joker. But after that, maybe I think it might be this one. I just like the characters. I like the abilities that they're doing here. I like the combos that you can generate here. One of the things I really like about the Rival system, too, is that tension of, do I go for a regular turn or do I try to take the confrontation here? Because you can't lay down your cards before, so you kind of have to do the math in your head. So I really, really enjoy this version, these Rivals versions. And as I say, I really enjoy the characters that this set brings. Really had a lot of fun with the DC Comics deck building game, Rivals, Superman versus Lex Luthor. It's great fun. If you don't have any of the Rivals systems and you're maybe looking to pick one up, this is a great place to start. I would highly, highly recommend it. Great deck building, two-player fun. I played this game the other night with my wife, and she's very competitive with these deck builder games, but we had a blast. We really, really enjoyed it. On the Cody scale, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give DC deck building game Rivals Superman versus Lex Luthor a 7. I really get a kick out of it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us once again today here on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we would ask you to please leave a comment here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on X. We love to hear back from you. We would ask you to please like this video and subscribe to our channel. That really helps us out. We would also ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where I talk about military history and books on history, fun things like that. I even post some of my lectures on there. I would humbly ask you to click on that channel and subscribe to it as well. And also, too, if you really do like the kind of content we bring to you here on The Discriminating Gamer, I would humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. You know, I just joined a passive-aggressive club. It's got a lot of rules. The first rule is, never mind. It's fine. It's fine.
Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. God knows that I love to fight.
Join the Superhero Registration Act. Never! Don't do drugs.